Andy and Paul are continuing their investigation with UAP experiencer Chris Bledsoe and his daughter Emily in a remote, unpopulated, dark sky area in the Florida Everglades. Last week, Andy and Paul brought Chris to the world-renowned Monroe Institute, a research center focused on the study of human consciousness, to do controlled brainwave tests. With the help of Dr. Thompson, they first studied Chris with Paul as a control subject and found their brains seemed to react differently to orbs that appeared.
Paul's a little more cognitive. Right now he's thinking about things, whereas Chris's brainwaves are larger and slower.
Next, they isolated Chris in a completely sealed-off copper room that blocked the energy of the outside world to see if he'd have brainwave interactions with orb phenomena, and he did.
Andy, he's gesturing.
Paul, I see an orb right here, flying overhead.
Son of a... That's unbelievable.
Now, they're capping off the Bledsoe brain experiment by bringing in a new test subject, Chris's daughter, Emily, who claims to have a similar relationship with the phenomena, despite not having been at her father's original reported encounter.
I was 10 years old when the Cape Fear River incident happened, and I just remember believing my dad 100%. Very soon after, the phenomenon started showing around me, and it hasn't stopped since.
They want to further test Emily's seemingly unique relationship with the phenomenon. They've also brought in Beyond Skinwalker veteran Steve Priola, an ex-cinematographer who's developed a unique way to film orbs in the night sky.
Hey, Steve.
Gentlemen, so the thing about this camera is you have to be at the right place at the right time. And with Chris here, the odds are pretty good that we're gonna see something. So that's why we're bringing this to the table, and I think it's gonna work out great.
That's the idea. We've got all the pieces in place. Just gotta wait for nightfall, which won't be long.
Right?
In addition to monitoring Chris and Emily in perfect conditions to document potential orb sightings, the team wants to test a claim that the phenomenon appears to be amplified when both of them are together. For the first time, Andy and Paul have trekked their monitoring tools into the swamp to detect energies present during any interaction Chris and Emily have with orbs, including their spectrum analyzer, which records Earth to space and space to Earth communication.
So I'm gonna be monitoring a number of different tools from this space station here, while we're relying on you guys to kind of point us in the direction of any activity that you see. But we have multiple ways of looking at what's happening in the radio spectrum. We have a way of ruling out aircraft with our FAA tracker and ruling out satellites with our satellite tracker here. And then we have UFO DAPs watching the sky constantly, our AI-powered eyes in the sky that you remember from the Monroe Institute.
Flash up there. Yeah.
Overhead?
Overhead, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gone now. It was very quick.
Paul,
Yes, sir.
we had something interesting happen in the radio spectrum just as Emily pointed out
Is
what
that
she
right?
just saw. Yeah, come take a look at this. This just came to life.
Wow.
And this is exactly what Erik talks about when he talks about, you see how the peak keeps
Look at
moving?
that, yeah. Huh.
Yeah. So this was a quiet spectrum until Emily called out whatever it was she saw in the sky.
Look at that. The way that peak is sort of just oscillating back and forth.
Right? So we're at 1.692 gigahertz, just under 1.7 gigahertz.
It's strange. I don't think we've ever seen anything just like that.
No.
Straight up. It's very faint. Do you see it, Dad?
Look at that.
And then it disappeared. And look what they did. She connected arms with him.
Here.
I already saw him over here.
They definitely know we're here. That was just a little grainy.
But there certainly seems to be some interesting activity in the radio spectrum for sure.
Getting a lot of weird little pulses between 1.69 and 1.7. Hey, Andy, what if we try to find the source of that signal?
Yeah, let's see if we can. You got the log periodic right here?
With the spectrum analyzer detecting a signal in the 1.6 to 1.7 gigahertz range, which is being sent from Earth to space or space to Earth, the team will now use their log periodic antenna. By rotating this directional antenna 360 degrees, It can isolate and hone in on the exact direction where the radio signal is transmitting from.
All right, man.
All right.
Ready when you are.
Start swinging through.
Wait. Backtrack for me. Stop right there. So there are changes. I want you to watch for changes in intensity, and then look at where the antenna is focused during those changes, right? So expect the pattern to stay the same, but watch the change in energy
Look
intensity.
for a spike.
All right, here we go, counterclockwise.
Tell you what, Andy, right about here, we've got a bit of a drop-off.
That's exactly what I thought I saw too. The pattern is still there, but the intensity is less.
Go back a little bit.
Yep.
Yep, there it is.
Yeah. So I wanted you to see that without me saying anything. Yeah, for sure there's a difference.
It's definitely higher now.
So we see this consistent pattern of energy.
Right.
And we see this level of intensity, these high peaks, when the directional antenna is focused in their direction.
Right. And it really drops off at 180.
When we turn it away from them.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Why would that happen?
I don't know, man. I mean, it implies that something is transmitting at them.
Right. One of the things that Paul and I discovered from the command post while you all were focused on the woods is that we saw some sort of unique signature, a radio signature, that seemed to be focused on where you were, localized to you.
And not only that, it's in a frequency bandwidth where there should be no activity at all.
Right, we were at 1.692 gigahertz, which is a frequency zone that's reserved for US federal government use only, and for Earth to space and space to Earth communication.
Wow.
It's almost like there's a frequency from Earth to space somehow connected to us.
That's where we're landing as well. That somehow there's energy that's tied to your being together, your being connected to the phenomenon at the same time. I don't know what it is, but what I do know is it doesn't happen that way for other people.
It shouldn't be happening at all to anybody.
It's almost like the phenomenon uses that frequency to communicate somehow, and we've somehow tapped
Connect
into
to it somehow, yeah.
That's as good a hypothesis as we've got. Well, we've got a lot of data.
Yeah, I mean, this was a fantastically successful night.
Yeah. Let's pack up, let's dry our feet, and start reviewing the data.
Yeah, let's do it.
Sounds good.
Well, welcome back, guys. You've had some incredible travels. I mean, you've managed to cross the entire continental United States in service to this expanded investigation.
We've been in the heat, we've been in the cold, and now we've been actually in one of the darkest places in the continental US with Chris Bledsoe, and I tell you, we've got some really interesting stuff to show you.
We didn't have our biggest breakthrough until after we had left for the night and started reviewing some of our footage. So the first thing I want to share with you is this.
Whoa.
Look at the way this one moves through space and seems to touch down in a way.
It's reflecting off the ground.
Far in the distance.
Yeah.
Right? Like that.
No, it's reflecting off the ground, or at least that's what it appears.
But nobody's walking back out there.
And you guys didn't see this, right?
Nope.
So I get the feeling there's a story with this. I'm really interested in the timeline here.
Was there some exercise being conducted with Chris around this period of time?
So what we discovered from the timeline was that Steve found that the timestamp on this image was at 6:50 p.m.
Okay.
And if you recall, the spectrum analyzer results that we were just showing you started up when the first sighting happened between Chris and Emily. That first sighting happened at 6:51 p.m.
So within 1 minute,
Right.
And that's
you have this event caught on camera coupled with the UAP, with the other unidentified aerial phenomena. I think the correlations, the people, the participants involved, the setting, the remote setting where this occurred, where you really don't have light pollution. You're in a very remote area, and then you couple with that the correlation within seconds of UFO activity. I think congratulations, gentlemen. I think we have a bona fide, unidentified aerial phenomena event. Incredible.